right, let's just dive right into it, tweens. What does that word say up there? Echo! That's to be my echo there. Very good. All right, this is our last week talking about it. Because like I said, even during the Never Rule, we don't just stop remembering what Jesus did for us after Easter. We don't just put a pause on it. We stop to remember He is risen even after the fact, guys. All right, so before we dive in, though, because like I said, guys, Easter is talking about different things. Sorry, the Echo series is talking about different things that Jesus said that we want to remember in our lives, like we want to echo in our minds and our hearts today. So before we dive in, though, I got a good question. Who likes a good old fail video? Yes. All right, I'm going to show you the injera one. Now, for those of you guys who know what injera is, Ethiopian food. You have to make it in a circle really carefully. Can we play that video real quick, Pastor Pat, the first one? Now, if you do it right, you do it in a good circle like that, and it should turn out just about right. You fill it into the middle. Look at that person go at it. Now I like this because when I went to Ethiopia, I had the chance to make injera for myself too. Now that is a well done circle, right? That is a pretty good circle. She fills in the little parts here and there. I do want you to see the final product though, just real quick, the final product. Let's see what it is there.
Why does it look like a pancake?
Because it's like they call it it's like a pancake. It's thin as it, but it's the bread. And the final product, it looks like that. It is beautiful. Let's see my attempt at making the injera. Tyler, let's see my attempt real quick. Now this is when I try making the same circle. Does that look like a circle to you guys? Alright, at least you guys could have lied to me a little bit. Yeah, it's devastating. And then you don't try filling out the outer parts, but I tried it. It didn't work out too well. It's okay. Is that a circle? That's a circle, right? Yeah. Okay. Also, our boy Johnny, you guys remember Johnny Bauer? Let's see the next video of Johnny playing hockey then. He shared with us a video. He used the blue one, or the black one. That is concussion number 1. He wasn't too happy with that one, on the ground. Johnny's the one that's on the ground, in case you was wondering. And concussion number 2 is actually my favorite one. Because Johnny laughs at this one. He laughed at this one with us. Let's see the second one. He's the one in the white, right there in the corner. Yeah. Just like that. That is concussion number 2. But he's A-okay, guys, don't worry. And my favorite one is David, making a TikTok video where he wanted to freeze in midair. This is my favorite video, though. Okay, guys, ready? My favorite one. He wants to freeze in midair, that's why he has to jump properly. You want to replay it? Look at his head right there, he's like, ah. Let's replay it one more time. Oh, that's the freeze. That's the still frame mode, that's what I love. Let's replay that video one more time. I don't know what he was aiming for, but... Now here's the thing.
He looks like he has a grudge.
It hurt. Like, you saw that the ceiling went up, and you know it's bad when it goes up like that. That's not a good sign. Man, we all have some feels we can think of in our own lives that we can look back on and laugh at, right? We can think of it and we can laugh like, oh, remember that time you walked into a glass door? Or the time where you ate like flaming hot soup and then you had to spit it all out. Some sort of fail like that of our own that we can think of. Let's pay attention for now, yeah? Because I want to stay together on this one topic. Because also, all we can think about fails that we can look back on and laugh at, like probably the one that you guys have in your mind, there's probably some fails that are a little more serious that we think about. Some fails that we might not laugh at. Some that we might be a little embarrassed. We're like, oh, that's a little cringe. Or maybe, oh, that's really embarrassing. Like, I'm really ashamed of this. And maybe it's something you guys feel really bad about. Maybe you guys are wondering if people would still love you if they knew those things that you did. Or even if God would still love you. Or if he'd be mad at you for the things that you guys did, even after you guys messed up in a certain way. Now, my big point for today, though, is we all mess up. Okay, guys? Everyone here has done something before that we're not proud of. Is that fair? Who here has done something before that they're not proud of? All hands should go up. I see it. Very good. And because we're all imperfect humans in an imperfect world. We've all done something that we're not proud of. And maybe there's some bad choices that you're still making today. Maybe there's some anger issues that cause you to act out in certain ways and do things that you know you shouldn't do. Maybe there's jealousy that makes you treat people in some ways. Maybe it's something that you guys shouldn't be watching, that you guys keep on watching. That you guys know you shouldn't be. And all these different things make us feel like failures. Maybe it's something that we did a long time ago, a bad choice that we made, that we still feel bad about. Maybe we disappointed some people, and they're very upset with us, and we allow that to stay down and hold us down in this place of sadness. Sometimes you guys feel like you let God down. Like our bad choices makes God not love us all of a sudden. This person sinned. I don't want to be in a relationship with them. I don't want to walk with them anymore. That's what you guys think that God's saying about you guys. But again, these are all lies from the enemy. And here's the thing. We all end up regretting our mistakes later. And the biggest tool the enemy wants to use, the devil, all of hell, wants to use to make you guys feel like you're not good enough to have a relationship with God. Like your mistakes and your bad choices are holding you guys down. And you guys should be ashamed of them and allow them to hold you guys in that place. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because again, guilt makes us feel like God and people can't love us after our mistakes. And we believe this lie. And I want to talk about someone who had a really big fail himself in the Bible called Peter. Everyone say Peter.
Peter.
Now Peter was one of Jesus' followers. He followed Jesus. He walked with him until the end. And what happened was after Jesus was arrested and betrayed, he was in prison, right? And while he was held in jail, there were a lot of crowds that were waiting to hear what was going to happen to Jesus. And Peter was there too. And what happened was when Peter was there, before even that very moment that happened, I want to take it back to the Last Supper. Because Jesus told his disciples, hey, you guys are all going to run away, by the way. And Peter was like, no, I'm not going to run away. I'm a ride or die. I'm here with you till the end, Jesus. I'm not going anywhere. If they're going to kill you, they can kill me too. And he was there for him. He said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm with you. And what Jesus told him was, hey, no, you know what? You're going to betray me 3 times. You're going to deny me 3 times. And then the rooster's going to crow. And when you hear that, you're going to realize what you did. And Peter was shocked by this. He felt hurt by the fact that he thinks Jesus thinks he would do such a thing. And then what happened was, all of a sudden, while he was out in the crowd later in the story, when Jesus was arrested, a servant girl saw him. And she was like, hey, man, you look familiar. You were with Jesus. And what did Peter say? I don't know him. That's what he says. I don't know him. That's exactly what he said. I don't know the man. And then another person saw Peter. And they were like, no, like, I'm pretty sure I know you. You look very familiar. You were with Jesus. You were part of that group. I saw you with them. And what did Peter say a second time? I don't know him. That's not, you must have thought of someone else. I don't know that man. I never followed that man. And a third time, another person was like, you know what? No, I'm certain that you have to be the guy. You look just like him. That has to be you. And what did Peter say the third time? I don't know him. And at that very moment, the rooster crowed. And he realized what he did. And the shame that he felt. And that's why I love how this verse says it. And he went out and wept bitterly. He didn't just cry, but he cried with so much pain because he realized that he betrayed Jesus. He realized he denied Jesus. And he felt that pain. And he felt that shame. How many times did Peter deny Jesus?
3.
3 times. It's very important. Remember that. Now, fast forward, Jesus died and he came back from the grave. And the disciples saw him 2 more times until this very story right here. So all of a sudden, there's a boat. Yes, this is my boat. Do you guys like my boat?
Yeah.
Kayla, you did ask to do this again. I'll let you do it again. Okay, Kayla's gonna act like Peter for today. Kayla is Peter for today. Everyone say hi, Peter.
Hi.
So Kayla, sorry, Peter. Peter's in the boat with the disciples, all the other homies. I'm one of the disciples' homies. What's good, Peter? Fellow disciple, right? Let's go fishing, right? So she starts fishing, right? No, not fishing. You gotta throw the net. You gotta throw the net, right? You threw the net, right? Threw the net. Try getting some fish. Try grabbing it. He didn't get any. Ah, darn. Let's try again. Threw it again. Let's wait. I do the 1, 2, 3. Wait for me. Type thing for the fish. The fish get in the net. Did they get in the net? See it? I thought that was gonna work. I was so sure it was gonna work. Let's try again. And Peter kept on trying over and over again to fish, and they didn't catch anything. The disciples caught nothing. All of a sudden, some guy was like, "Hey, how about you try throwing on the other side?" You know what Peter did? The disciples? They didn't throw it on the other side. They threw it. And you know what happened, guys? A bunch of fish went into the net. But there's so many that Peter couldn't even bring them all in. The disciples couldn't bring them in. And oh my goodness, there's so many fish. There's too many to bring inside the boat. And you know what they said? They were like, wait, that's not some guy. And John said, hey, Peter, guess who that is? That's Jesus. So they start rowing to shore. So start rowing. But Peter was too excited. So Peter was like, you know what? No, I can't do that. Jumped into the water and started swimming. Swim, Peter, swim. Oh, Peter swam all the way to shore to find Jesus. And this is where we have our verse for today. And this is what happened next. It said this, now this is what Jesus said. Now come and have some breakfast, Jesus said. And none of the disciples dared to ask him, who are you? They knew it was the Lord. So again, they know that's Jesus. He came back. He did another miracle. So many fish. Then Jesus served them bread and fish. And this was the third time Jesus had appeared to his disciples since he had been raised from the dead. How many times did Jesus appear to them now? 3. Very good. Okay. Third time. Where are we? Okay. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, and sometimes Peter is called Simon. Simon, son of John, do you... I guess let's read those parts that I can't. That's a different color. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Next verse, let's read this together. Yes, Lord, Peter replied, you know I love you. Then feed my lambs. Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question. Simon, son of John, do you love me? Yes, Lord, Peter said. You know I love you. Let's read the next point. Then take care of my sheep, Jesus said. A third time, he asked him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question a third time. He said, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. And Jesus said, then,
Feed my sheep.
how many times did Jesus ask him that question?
3.
How many times did Peter ask, was Peter asked if he knew Jesus?
3.
How many times did Peter deny Jesus? In that moment, Peter, all he could think about was that shameful mistake that he made. He was so ashamed of the decision he made. He felt like he was not good enough, probably. Because he wept bitterly. But Jesus didn't reject Peter and push him away. Jesus gave Peter an invitation to take care of all the believers and also to keep going on this journey together. Jesus gave Peter a second chance. Jesus still loved Peter. Do you guys think Jesus denied Peter all of a sudden? No, he still loved Peter. He still wanted to use him. And the same thing applies to us. We all make mistakes that we're ashamed of. We all have made and probably will make some things that we're like, oh dang, I shouldn't have done that, God. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not good enough anymore. And we start thinking these things, we might get hard on ourselves again. Because I am very hard on myself. I'm very dang, I am not good enough. I have done that many times. I am I beat myself up all the time about these things and the decisions that I make, the mistakes, what I say, what I do. I'm like, I wish I didn't say that thing. I wish I was smarter in the moment. And all of a sudden I might think I'm not good enough. But God still sends that invitation. Because Jesus still died for each and every one of those mistakes that you guys are talking about, that you guys are thinking are holding you back from a relationship with God. And this is my big point for today, guys. Your failures don't change Jesus' love for you. Jesus still loves you. And there's nothing you guys can do to stop him from loving you guys. And we will never be too bad or too far away from God's love. Because again, as long as that invitation is there, we can be his child. And a lot of times the enemy, the devil, and even our flesh, and all of hell, and the world will try judging you, saying that failure, that mistake you made is your name. That's your identity. That's your label. This name tag, that mistake is your name tag. And you're going to wear that, that's who you are. But if you are a follower of Jesus, that's not your name tag. Your name tag is a child of God. And if you guys can't want to be a follower of Jesus too, that could be your name tag. That could be who you guys are. Your mistakes know how to identify you. And there's two things about this. First thing is there's two choices we can do. And this is under choosing to move closer to Jesus, which is my first point. When we choose to move closer to Jesus, there's a decision with our mistakes. Either one, we can run away from God when we make a bad mistake. We can be ashamed and we can run away from God. And this wasn't in my notes, but I think it's very important worth mentioning. Judas, when he betrayed Jesus, he took his own life because he was so ashamed of himself. He could have ran back to Jesus, but he ran away and he took his own route. Peter actually ran back to Jesus. We have the same decision ourselves. And like I said, I want to point out something very important though. This is not an excuse to keep on sinning and keep on making those bad mistakes. Oh, just because we're going to be forgiven. But it should be a motivation to do better because Jesus loved us enough to again, suffer and die for every one of us. That was the ultimate display of love. And that's the second most important part, guys. Remember, your failures don't change Jesus' love. The ultimate display of love was dying on that cross. So whatever things you guys think you guys have done that's so bad, that's so big of a burden, Jesus was bigger than that. And his love and his sacrifice is so much bigger than any mistake you can ever make. So use that as motivation to do better and grow closer to him instead of running away or allowing sin to hold you guys down. Again, Peter failed and Jesus invited him. And we all have failed at some points. We've all had some big fails, but Jesus still invites us today. And one more small point, really small point. A lot of us, again, like I said, we've all experienced failure before. We've all done something we're not proud of. The same way that Jesus still loves us, we should still extend that same invite to other people who make mistakes that they're not as proud of too. Just the same way God forgave us, we should forgive other people that might have hurt our feelings or said something that we're not too happy with. Like I said, we all make mistakes, but that doesn't have to be our identity anymore. We can be children of God. Let's close our eyes and bow our heads. If that's you in this time that you feel like your mistakes are holding you down and you're so ashamed of it that you don't feel like you're worth God's love, I want to pray for you guys in this time. God, I thank you so much for the fact that you love each and every one of us. I thank you for the fact, Jesus, that you died on that cross and you rose from the dead because you love us. Help us to hold on to the fact that you died and you rose from the dead because of this love, not only on Easter Sunday, but every single day of our lives, Lord. Help us to remember the fact that you are extending an invite out to each and every one of us. Help us to accept that invite. Help us to run to you when we're ashamed and when we're afraid and when we're not happy with ourselves. And help us to remember that your love is greater than anything that we have done. In Jesus Christ's name. And everyone said? Amen. All right,